MTD CNC, bringing you the latest engineering news, reviews, events and special offers via video media.
We hear a lot about automation nowadays, and I've travelled to Leighton Buzzard to meet Martin White, the Managing Director of Anotronic. Martin, can you talk me through this Lang Tower?
Morning, Joe. Yes, this is a 60 pallet Lang Tower. We can hold two types of pallet size on here. We can do standard pallet here, or the pallet I have next to me here for holding larger items. It's a very simple system using an M code output from the CNC controller, so it can be basically married to pretty much any CNC machine tool.
Okay, and it's all automated, obviously, robotic loaded. How many pallets can it hold?
This will hold 60 pallets, and you can vary that. So if you only have a 10 off, you can just run 10 pallets.
Okay, and in terms of size, what's the smallest and what's your largest component?
Smallest is as small as you can grip. The indentations are every 6mm, so in theory you could probably hold a 10mm wide part. The largest on this particular machine, purely simply because of going up the chute, is about 420mm wide.
Still a large component for automation.
Yeah, I think that the arms can take about 25 kilos of weight.
Okay, and obviously this was supplied from Thame Workholding. How have you found their backup and their service?
Very good. We did this as a marriage between Matsura UK and Thame, so we have all the safety and the automation together.
And I see you have the stamping unit in the background as well. How are you finding that?
Yeah, the stamping unit is very important. We've been using Lang for a number of years now. Some people get scared because the stamping unit is quite a high cost. In my opinion, it's the most important part of the tool because it's the indentations that give you the accuracy and the repeatability at a later stage.
It looks quite complicated, is it?
It's a very straightforward system. It's quite a simple system. You load the pallets all the same way. When the machine has machined it, it actually turns the pallet around 180 degrees, and there's a sensor in the arm that knows that the pallet has been turned around and it will stop the machine. So all you've got to make sure, the most crucial thing, is when you load all 60 pallets, you load them all the same way.
So if the batch finishes at 4 AM and presumably there's nobody here, the machine just shuts down?
The machine just shuts down. It parks the arm and the machine just shuts down.
And we've already touched on the largest component the tower can hold. What happens if I have larger components?
Here at Anotronic we have, in our automation cell, we do have another unit which is an eco-compact table which allows us to take much bigger parts.
Okay, let's go and take a look at the table. Right, Martin, this is the eco table.
Yeah, this is the eco table where this has got 10 positions on the pallet. What we can do, we can obviously run small parts like we're running at the moment, or we can take every other pallet off and then have a lot wider parts, 500-600mm wide, as long as it can go through the door on the machine tool.
Okay, and presumably all these vices are interchangeable between the two machines, so you could do the second operation on the second machine?
Yes, and you can also change the jaws on these for second ops as well if you need to. They sell a system where you can change the jaws for doing the second op, so they haven't got the serrations in, so they have soft faces so you don't damage the part that you've just machined.
Okay, and in terms of investments, I don't want to know what you've paid for the system, but presumably it's quite basic automation, entry level, so the payback is what, 1 year, 2 years maybe?
Yeah, I mean it depends on obviously what jobs you can get on it. As a subcontractor, we don't really know what, most of the time, what we're doing from 1 month to the next. So we have to be very flexible on the machine.
So Martin, these are quite small components we can see on the table at the moment, but what type of components would you normally put on it?
This is a typical part that we machine. This is a front fascia for a high-end audio. This is the first op machining. As you can see, we're using the stamping unit again, and we're actually machining as close as we can around the part. So we have models of the fixturing within the 5-axis software, so we can get as close to it as possible to machine these, so we've got minimum material removal on second op.
Okay, that's quite a large component for quite a small vise, isn't it? Is that purely down to the stamping ability?
Because it's complete form closure technology, it just does not move. and you don't have to have excessive force on clamping either. We can hit this very hard, typically 4 or 5 metre depths of cut. The removal rate is very, very quick.
And what happens if the part comes off and it's incomplete or it's incorrect?
We've never had one come out. In all the materials we've machined, we've never had one pull out.
And is it repeatable? Can I put the same component back in for a finishing operation?
Yes, we actually make jigs for second op machining by using the stamping technology, taking the parts out, screwing them from underneath, putting them back in the jig, and we get 5 microns repeatability.
So Martin, I'm an engineer, I've got a CNC machine shop and I want automation, but I'm not quite sure. Do I do it? Do I leave it? What would you say?
The decision is not one you come to very quickly. We've run two other 5-axis machines that we ran for about 3 or 4 years before we decided to go the automation route. It was literally batch sizes were getting bigger, cycle times were taking longer, and we ended up spending more hours here. Wanted a bit of life back, got a young family, and just wanted, to do something for myself as much as the business. So, and it's definitely worked.
It's an impressive unit. Why did you go for the Lang?
Well, I say we have been using Lang a long time on the Workholding. We've always been impressed on our other machine tools, on our Hercos. That the gripping technology is fantastic. We do a lot of high-end audio equipment, and cycle times can be 4 or 5 hours at a time. And with running one shift, we could only get 2 or 3 components a day. Since we've had the table, we've been able to get between 7 and 8 components a day. So it's completely changed our turnaround on our high-end parts.
Yeah, and presumably it's going to be a fast payback because of that. But one thing I do note, there's not many operators here, is there?
No, we tend to leave the 2 Matsurers with the Lang systems on alone all day. We do very little. We load them in the morning, we top the machines up, we do the swarf, and we load them at night, and we get on with running second ops and other machines during the day.
Okay, so if they're pretty much unmanned, presumably that makes you more competitive?
Yeah, we'd like to think so. I mean, in this market, we're trying to be as competitive as possible, and it doesn't enable us to reduce our hourly rate on certain occasions to secure more work.
That's great news, that's great news. And will you be looking to invest in more automation?
We're always looking at automation. We've automated our lathes, we look at it on our spark erosion and wire erosion side. It's the way forward.
So automation plays a key part in your business?
Definitely, definitely.
And would you look for Thame, Workholding and Lang in future investments?
Definitely, definitely. You say I've been using it now for some 5 years and it's been very, very good.
Okay, thanks for your time today, Martin. Impressive sell.
Thank you.
For more videos, products and news, go to mtdcnc.com or follow MTD Online on Twitter.